Search!
Aegis Wall!
Chom's Touch!
Summon Running Ally!
And your future, Professor.
And welcome back again. Thank you guys for joining us again, class. Welcome in. We're back with the little spells and scepters. And today, I'm going to give you guys the full breakdown on how it's done. From the start to the end, we're going to walk through the entire rest of the Player's Guidebook. For today, I want to make sure you guys know about our other two class videos that should now be up. You can check out episode 1, where we break down every species, and episode 2, where we break down every class. These are two very, very helpful episodes that will help you get on your way. And this one is the Crown Pinnacle. Put this one on top, and the trilogy is complete. So please, if you would, and you haven't checked out the first 2 episodes of our class, and then tune back in here. And if you have, then thank you so much. Make sure you like and subscribe so we can keep doing even more of these. We'll now get on with your featured presentation. All right, everyone. Welcome in. Come on. Welcome on into Spells and Scepters. Today is not about mastering the spells. It's not about dueling perfectly, but about understanding how the world works. Once you understand the structure, the rest becomes intuitive. Spells and Scepters is built around 3 core pillars: turn structure, spell economy, and magical identity. Let's begin with turn structure. Every encounter begins with initiative. At the start of combat, everyone rolls initiative, and that roll determines your place in order. Once your order is set, it repeats, round after round, the same sequence. The rounds continue until the objective is complete. The objective might be defeating enemies, escaping a situation, completing a ritual, protecting someone, or winning a duel. Let's talk about what you can actually do on your turn. You have 3 actions: primary, secondary, and free. Your primary action is your main move. You may either move up to 6 blocks, make an attack, or cast a spell. You do not get both unless a feature specifically allows it. Your secondary action is half of your primary. You may reposition slightly, activate certain abilities, trigger things like sigils, but here's the important restriction. You cannot attack or cast with your secondary action unless a spell or feature explicitly says that it can be done as a bonus action. Another critical rule about secondary actions: if you use your secondary action during your turn, you lose your reaction on enemy turns. That means you cannot countercast. You cannot perform reaction abilities, and you must decide, is the secondary action worth giving up your reaction? That decision separates new players from strategic players. Finally, your free interaction. You may drink a potion, pick something up, call out to teammates, or interact with small objects. But you cannot move, attack, or cast as part of a free interaction. Now that you understand your turn economy, let's talk about character fundamentals. We have some ability scores to go over: strength, dex, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Your proficiency bonus is always half of your class level. And don't forget about HP and AC. Let's talk about how some of these interact for a moment. So your HP is your health points. These you don't want to hit 0. If they do, you have to roll to remain conscious. You're what's known as knocked. Thankfully, you can't take no more damage until you get your rolls to see if your character needs a respawn. But your AC will keep your HP protected. Your AC is your armor class and represents how much they have to roll to hit you. Which brings us back around to those stats that we were just talking about. Strength is the stat you will roll when making an attack with a weapon to try and strike your opponent's hit points down. You'll have to roll your strength against their AC. Then you'll have speed, which was your distance to travel and controlling on the battlefield. Your dex, which will mainly be used to help dodge out of the way, or for different types of spell casting as well. Clean, simple, scales naturally. Now, spell slots. At level 1, you begin with the number of spell slots listed by your species. As you level up, you gain one additional spell slot per class level, so your magical endurance increases steadily. Now, let's discuss ascended spell slots. Ascended spell slots, also known as ASI, can cast a spell equal to your class level. This is your high impact casting. This is where your strongest magic comes from. Use them wisely. Now, cantrips. At level 1, you may cast one cantrip per day. You gain one additional cantrip per class level. So your basic magical toolkit grows with you. Now, let's talk equipment. Wands and scepters are different. Wands have damage stats and that are direct channeling tools. Scepters use hit dice. They represent magical stamina and identity. Your class determines your hit dice. Most casters use a d6, while heralds and your stonekin use a d8. Let's zoom out for a moment. Magic in spells and scepters is divided into 7 categories: evocation, ward, charm, summon, hex, binding, and divine. Every spell you cast is one of these categories. This helps keep combat simple, clean, and thematic. But there are over 36 different archetypes of spells. Let's talk about duels. In the spell duel system is designed to feel dramatic but mechanically simple. In a duel, each round follows this structure. Initiative, then you choose one of your 4 actions. Cast, defend, countercast, shift. Cast, when you roll a spell attack versus the AC, you defend, you gain +2 AC until your next turn. Countercast, if an attack hits you, you may roll a spell attack against a roll as a reaction. This takes your primary action to do. Shift, you reposition up to 6 blocks and gain +1 on your next attack. Spell attack formula is simple: d20 plus your spellcasting modifier, your proficiency bonus, and that's it. Now, how do you win a duel? Well, there are 3 conditions. You can disarm, you can ring out, or you can stun. Done in the latter by disarming, dropping to 0 HP, ring out, force the arena by a knockback spell, or stun, 3 failed concentration saves. Duels are not always about damage, they're about control, positioning, and tempo. At the beginning of your journey, you choose 3 of the following 5 duel spells: Spark Bolt, Blast Wave, Mirror Ward, Binding Ribbon, or Arc Surge. These define your early playstyle. Now, here is what's most important of these entire introductions. Spells and Scepters reward your intentional play. You must think about your action economy, your spell slots, your positioning, reactions. You cannot do everything, so you must choose. Do you spend your secondary action and lose your reaction? Do you cast now or conserve? Do you defend or pressure? The system is simple, but the decisions are meaningful. If you understand turn structure, spell economy, and win conditions, you will succeed. This is not a game of chaos. This is a game of tempo and identity, with chaos sprinkled in here and there. Welcome to Spells and Scepters. Well, if you have your wizard built, and you understand initiative, and you understand actions, you understand the spell slots and the categories, here's the real question. What happens next? You don't just simply exist at Mistvale, you grow there. In class, you're going to have opportunities to learn new spells. This isn't automatic. Teacher presents a spell, you will roll a d20 against a set DC. A DC is determined by 3 things: the spell's level, the difficulty of the teacher, and their fondness towards you. Yes, relationship matters. If the spell is level 3 and the teacher is strict and you've been disruptive in class, that DC may not be so friendly. But if you've shown discipline, curiosity, and respect, you might find the lesson a tad bit easier. Now, sometimes you won't hit the DC. You may request a reroll. But here's the catch. When you do, you take a negative adversity modifier. Why? Because your peers are waiting. Class time is limited. The more time you take, the more pressure builds. The modifier represents the classroom needing to move on. So you must decide, push for mastery now or accept growth over time. Now, let's say you succeed. You pass the roll. Does that mean you immediately master the spell? No, it means you've become adept. You've unlocked the access. Next, you need to roll mastery points, MP. Mastery points represent in-universe familiarity, control, confidence, stability. Higher level spells require higher mastery thresholds. You might learn the structure of Arc Search today, but truly mastering it may take time. Growth is layered. Once you've learned the spells, you may ask, what will I do with them? Well, from Mistvale the hub, it is but a place to hang out, build rivalries, train, explore, craft, study, and form alliances, but eventually you will want more. And when you're ready, you can step into the wild world of Arcanum. Here in Spells and Scepters, you will find many places offer you things to do. Seek the Adventurers Guild. The guild offers quests that reward loot crates. Loot crates contain magical gear, components, scrolls, rare items, but quests are structured. If you want something greater, you search for some dungeons. Dungeons are a risk, and they have a team strategy aspect. Dungeons contain epic and legendary items, but they are not solo endeavors. Which brings us to something critical. You will need friends. You will need to build that synergize. An evoker without a warden will burn out. A shadow mage without a charmer may destabilize. A herald without support may fall. Build your team intentionally. Now, beyond the dungeons, there are trials. Trials are seasonal, and they can only be attempted during certain times of the year. They are more dangerous, more punishing, but every trial has a promise, a mythic item that lies within. Not rumored, not random, but guaranteed. If you survive, so will you train? Will you learn? Will you master spells? The world is moving. You will run quests, delve dungeons, and complete trials, all while the Dungeon Master's greater story unfolds in the background. You are not just students, you are players in a living narrative. Mistvale is your foundation. The guild is your stepping stone. Dungeons are your proving grounds, and the trials are your legends. Beyond all of that, there is a story waiting. So build it well, train hard, choose your allies wisely, and remember, learning a spell is just the beginning. What you do with it, that's your legend. And until next time, thank you for joining us in Spells and Scepters.